Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing the Annotating Book Tag, and while I was going through this, I kind of added 3 questions. Hopefully you'll like them. Let's start. So, question 1. Do you mark your annotations with page flags? Some of them, yes. I have way too many annotations to flag them all, but I like color code. I picked like, I don't know, 8 or 10 colors, and I'll color code each thing a certain thing, and then I'll try to pick a flag to match. Question 2. Do you match flags to the book cover, or do you have a set flagging system? I have a set flagging system. I assign each color to a specific thing for that book that I want to track, and it can be different from book to book. So I'll usually write in the back or on a card for that book what my annotation key is. Question 3. What is the first book you have ever annotated? I'm pretty sure that it was a Babysitter's Club book, and mostly what I marked in it was the outfits. I was really obsessed with like fashion and stuff when I was a kid. Question 4. Have you ever been against annotating books? No, but I haven't always done it. But it's something that I'm going to be doing more. Question 5. Did you ease into annotating your books, or did you jump right in? I annotated like 1 or 2 during my youth, and then when I started to read for fun again as an adult, I kind of eased into it. In 2016, I had found commonplacing, so I read a lot of ebooks, and annotated them like commonplace to them more rather. Basically transferring all the info to an index card instead. So mostly I commonplace, but I also do annotation. And if it's an ebook, then it's just commonplacing, but if it's a physical, I'll do a bit of both now. Question 6. Do you keep an unannotated version of your annotated books? Not on purpose, no. Question 7. Has anyone ever annotated a book for you? No, but that would be a blast. Like, I would love to read someone else's annotations, like where they actually write in the book or write outside of the book on something. That would be really cool. Question 8. Do you mind used books with annotations already in them? No, because it's like reading someone's diary. It'd be kind of cool. So far, none of the books that I've bought thrifted have had annotations in them, which makes me a little sad, but still, it would be fun. Question number 9. Have you ever gotten hate or horrified stares for writing in your books? No, I haven't. But for those who don't want to write in their books, or can't write in them because it's a library book, etc., I would suggest the Notecard commonplace system. Basically, you write the parts that you like onto an index card or into a journal. Either way, I like the index card system so you can kind of like bounce the notes around, like combine parts of this book with that book, the ideas from this book with that book, which is great if you want to write a book, so you could read a bunch of books, even like if you're doing a research paper, it works great for that. For research paper writers, even for YouTubers and booktubers, it would be a cool idea to do the whole commonplace system, because then you can organize the books that you've read, plan for the book recommendations, or you can take different quotes out of certain books, movies, TV, whatever. I like to commonplace from everything, all the stimuli that I watch, TV, movies, music, etc., and combine the different ideas and see the overlap of ideas. And that's why I like doing the little quotes and stuff. You'll see more of that method and see the overlap eventually. But if you want to look it up, Ryan Holiday wrote a great article about all that. He had learned it from Robert Greene. It's the Notecard system. It's been around, and I liked how they called it commonplace, and even Doug Toft had some articles on it. Well, some of his articles disappeared, but I liked reading about that back in 2016 when I first came across it. Like, I was obsessed. So, for me, like, I'll reorganize them into certain categories, like vampires, grief, fashion, productivity. That's why I like it being on the index card, so you can bounce it around. And you can even write, like, the site, like, if you're doing it for a research paper, you can write the citation on the back so that you have that for your bibliography? Is that what it was? Been a while since I've been in high school, so I can't remember. But, yeah, I think that's what it is. But yeah, then you can reorganize the cards by, like, what section you want to do on that research paper or that essay, or by the video. You know, if even watching YouTuber videos, I'll take notes as I watch YouTube. This would be like, oh, I like how they edited that, or I like this aspect, or I like that angle, or whatever, you know, or, oh, that would be a good TBR idea, or I want to read that book, you know. I write it down, and mostly I write it in OneNote right now for the big collection of my notes, and then I take out of that to the index cards into my little system, which I'll have a video about that eventually. I still need to do the audio for it, which honestly I hate doing that, but still, it's part of my process. So I guess question number 10, I didn't number it. What do you annotate your books with? Well, in the books from my childhood, I had used a highlighter, which fades. 20 years later, looking at it, it's faded. You can't hardly see it. I used a pencil. You can still see that. And I used a ballpoint pen, which after 20 years, you can still see that. So keep that in mind when you're writing in it, if you want to be able to see your annotations 20 years from now. You know, a highlighter's not the best. I don't know with fine liners yet. That's what I currently use, but if they're anything like the highlighter in 20 years, I probably won't be able to read it, so that's why I transfer it to the index cards. Then you have it. You know, then you know, okay, it was this line specifically that I liked, or this line specifically told the backstory of so-and-so, you know. But currently I have a gel pen, but I normally write that in the notebook. In the book itself, I'll use the fine line markers and the little plastic tabs. I don't like using the paper tabs unless I specifically want to write on the paper tab, which usually in my book annotating, no. In my planner annotating, yes. I'll use a mix, but the book's plastic. And question 11. Have you ever regretted annotating a book? Not yet. Not yet. Oh. Well, I don't regret annotating a book, but I do regret tearing apart a book. There was one book that was the Unicorn Tapestries. I took it apart because I wanted to be able to take the pictures and put them up on the wall one day, use them like art. Honestly, now I wish I would have had 2 copies so that I'd have one complete book, and then also use the pictures as well. So, yeah. So eventually I want to get that book again. Question 12. Why do you annotate? Well, I started to annotate mostly into commonplace to begin with. I started commonplace first, really. I mean, in this, as reading as adult, it started to commonplacing to try to gather info because I wanted to do writing again. I wanted to pick up that hobby again. So I had started to gather information, and I had attempted to do a blog, and I don't know, I may pick that back up again. I wanted to get back into my hobby of writing and etc., so that's why I started with commonplace again. And now that I have a booktube channel and my other YouTube channels, I wanted to annotate so that I can have a better discussion about the book. And I'm still going to be doing the commonplacing for both, the discussion factor, the creating videos factor, and the writing factor. You know, if there's something in there that sparks an idea, like anytime that I have an idea, I try to capture it as quickly as I can so I don't forget. But yeah, that's why I annotate. Question 13. When underlining, do you use a ruler? No, rulers are too time consuming. Just make it sloppy. Yeah, I try not to write over the word itself, but if I do, I do. I ain't got time to make it pretty. Question 14. Do you annotate each book that you read? I have not yet, but I intend to start pretty much doing so. With my ebooks and my audiobooks, no. I usually just read through them first. Ebooks, sometimes I do. It depends on if I want to do a deep dive of the book or if I just want it to be another book that I read that month. I've actually started a little list of, like, I need to reread in commonplace this later, / annotate this later, so I don't always annotate in commonplace on the first read. Sometimes I do. I'm going to try to for most of my physical books. Anyhow, at least, like, you know, the ones that I want to do a deep dive on. Okay, so now we're getting into the questions that I added. Question 15. Do you have a commonplace or note card system, which is a collection of favorite quotes or ideas sparked by the books or other media? Yes, I do. I have a 22-quart Ziploc weather-tight box that is for my writing topic cards. I have my little mini crate. I have a little mini crate for my YouTube content. I have a little mini crate that's for my book inventory. And I have a shoebox for my master to-do list, which I haven't looked at in a while, so I need to get back to that eventually. But yeah, it's a system that I don't reference as often as I could and should, but I'm working on it. So, yes, I do. Question 16, added by moi. Would you consider creating a note card system or commonplace? I have. I found out about commonplacing and the note card system from Ryan Holiday's little blog and such back in 2016. Some others that wrote about it was, so you had Ryan Holiday, you had Robert Greene, Todd Henry, Robert Persig. I actually read his book Lila because it mentioned his commonplace system. I didn't finish it. I wanted to know if they got together. That was like the only other thing that was keeping me in the book to figure out, did the guy end up with Lila? But I liked the parts about his commonplace cards and everything. That was cool. So there's like articles that have just that part. Just read the articles. Question 17. Do you have a reading journal? What spreads or info do you include in it? Yes, I do. The current spreads that I have in my reading journal are the books that I read for that year, reading goals, quarterly TBR, monthly bookish habits, monthly book haul, my want to reads, my monthly TBR, monthly pages read, which it has pages read on one side and minutes read on the other side per day. Like it has the days go across. If you watch my videos about my reading journal, you'll see that, in fact. There's some videos, I'll link some videos if I have them done. I'm sure I have at least one. So I have a playlist about my reading journals, which I'll link down below. Let me know in the comments if you have ever heard of the commonplace note card system, if you've ever thought about doing it. Yes, it is time consuming. Like I said, it might, it takes me 4 or 5 minutes to read a page instead of 1 in order to annotate and commonplace, and sometimes I will reread a book in order to commonplace and pull those quotes out. I count that as a second reread, because usually I'm skimming through and finding, like, okay, is there something else on this page that I want to write down? So it is time consuming, but depending on your needs from it, it can be super useful. And please check out my planning for book recommendations video that shows you how you can use, a little mini commonplace for this. And also check out my other videos, check out my other channels. I have an Amazon list of my annotating and commonplacing supplies linked down below. And I tag all of you. So if you have not done this tag yet, or even if you have, you haven't done my questions. So please do this tag, link it down below, tell me your thoughts down below. If you don't feel like making the tag a video, feel free to answer the questions in a comment down below. That's just as good too. But yeah. And I'm still not good at this whole outro thing, but I have more videos to film. So, you have a good day. I shall check you out later, and see ya. There are some others. I thought there was a guy, didn't I say it was Todd Toft or something? It was somebody Toft, I thought. I could be wrong. Doug Toft? Doug Toft. He wrote about it too, I think. Don't quote me on that. Nix that.